The reported capture of Nicolas Maduro and his wife by U.S. Delta Force on January 3, 2026, represents a seismic shift in global geopolitics, raising profound questions about the legitimacy of such a high-stakes military intervention. While the United States justifies the move through a 2020 indictment involving narcoterrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, and the use of destructive devices, the legal foundation for arresting a sitting head of state on his own soil remains a point of intense international debate. From the perspective of U.S. law enforcement, Maduro's designation as a leader of a narco-state and his government's classification as a foreign terrorist organization provide a domestic mandate for his arrest. However, under international law, such an act is often viewed as a violation of territorial integrity and the principle of non-intervention. By executing a warrant through military force rather than diplomatic extradition, the U.S. effectively bypasses the traditional norms of state immunity, setting a precedent that could theoretically be applied to any leader accused of transnational crimes by a powerful adversary. The impact of this development on the sovereignty of other nations is profound, signaling a new dawn where national borders may no longer provide sanctuary for leaders targeted by global powers. For smaller or less militarily capable nations, this intervention serves as a stark reminder of the asymmetrical nature of international power, suggesting that sovereignty is contingent upon alignment with, or at least the absence of direct hostility from, the world's dominant military forces. Even for other powerful nations, the move creates a volatile environment where the rules-based order is increasingly dictated by unilateral action rather than multilateral consensus. Critics argue that allowing a single nation to act as global judge, jury, and executioner undermines the very concept of an independent state, potentially encouraging other major powers to conduct similar extraterritorial extractions of political opponents under the guise of law enforcement or national security. In the wake of this intervention, the United Nations and other international bodies are expected to face an identity crisis as they struggle to reconcile their founding principles with the reality of U.S. military assertiveness. The UN Charter strictly prohibits the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state, and UN experts had already expressed concern over the dangerous escalation leading up to this event. International organizations are now under immense pressure to convene the Security Council to address what Venezuela describes as an imperialist attack, yet the structural veto power of the US makes a formal condemnation unlikely. Consequently, the world may see a pivot toward the General Assembly or human rights tribunals to demand proof of life and ensure that Maduro receives a trial that meets international standards of due process. Ultimately, the global community must decide whether it will accept this new era of enforcement jurisdiction or seek to reinforce the traditional boundaries of sovereignty that have governed international relations for the past century.